Because this craziness, this sickness in this country now is shot through the whole society. You know, people in law enforcement have also succumbed to right-wing extremism and white nationalism. Again, what this points up is how pervasive and vast a problem this is, and we will be dealing with it for a long time.
Welcome to my band. Tell us a rapping joke.
What song is it, Fitzy?
It's for the Evers.
Okay, this is for the Evers.
Whoa! Jim, stop, guys. You know what?
Cops.
You guys noticed, Raffy's been humming along. Maybe you get up stage and hum a bit more, sir?
Raffy is welcome on our stage anytime he wants, man.
Anytime, man. Good story, brah. His dick's still on the stage.
Raph, seriously? Raph. Focus. Raph. You're not Clint. You can join us anytime.
Those are the rules, are they?
Check. No, Raph's good.
Sorry?
It's a fucking way she goes. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she don't go. It's the fucking way she goes, boys.
Science.
Clint says.
You learn to reject reflex. Don't do this.
Another side of the drowning heart. Hell, she struck off a post, kissed my lips in the doorway. Got my drink and I'm her favorite thing. Standing on the front porch and she's fighting back the teardrops. Baby's got the time for humankind. She opened up a suitcase and now came a tornado. Get them back for all the honeybees. Waking Mason morning and she's lying in my bed. And the sunshine lies and gives me a bright big smile. And I opened up my eyes and her ivy covered morning was rattled trash fresh over me.
That was me. Hi, everybody. I'm still muted, aren't I? No, I'm not. Hey, nailed it this time. That's so not like me. I'm normally really good at keeping myself muted. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing well. It's been an interesting day already. I've been to the dump, which was a precarious journey to say the least. So the story behind that, I have a third band that I'm starting up, all of whom jam in my basement. And that means 3 drum kits, because why would anyone ever want to share gear? That's just silly talk. But at the end of the day, it all works out. And I had to make space. So I have this beat up old love seat that was down there that needed to go. And it had its time. So it had to go. So I got it upstairs yesterday, and today my buddy Dongo came and we drove it to the dump. The roads were shit. There was a little tiny bit of a snow, and it was like sheet ice, and we're in this truck with a huge trailer behind it. There's a bunch of other stuff that we took to the dump. But I survived. So that's awesome. Yeah. As a result, I am a little bit less prepared for today's stream. I was counting on having a bit of time that I did not get. But such is life. These are the things. I see I've got I Am Canadian watching. How you doing, my friend? And also Abbott Costello, who I believe is new. So hi, Abbott Costello. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you enjoy. Hopefully, despite my warning of I'm a little less prepared than I'd like to be, hopefully it'll still be awesome. And you'll be like, wow, that's a fella I can follow. Or whatever. So yeah, I am a little tiny streamer no one's ever heard of. I am an old man. Some would say a boomer. I'm not. I'm Gen X. Late stage Gen X. But still old, crusty, crotchety. I'm working tonight. I'm going to be DJing at a gig. If you're in the Calgary area and want to have a good time, it's Heavy Halloween. 4 different like stoner rock bands playing, and me DJing in between with a set of music that is mostly Halloween-ish in theme. It's all kind of dark and spooky and stuff, but at the same time, there's only so many good Halloween metal and punk songs. So there's a lot of other stuff sprinkled in there. Some local music and some less local, but yeah, it'll all be good. Anyways, let's get into it, shall we? What am I going to talk about first? So I have where the hell is my thing that I always have open? I upgraded to Windows 11, and apparently that's a choice that has come with some interesting stuff. And my ex-wife is calling. Let's find out what this is all about. Hello? Hey? I'm all right. How are you? Yeah, no, I'm fine. Well, I'm live streaming right now. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, he had a good time. He had fun. No, I don't think so. Okay. I won't. Alrighty. Yeah. Bye-bye. Because why wouldn't I take a call in the middle of a stream? It seemed like it would be funny. I don't think it was funny. Anyways, so let's get started. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about first. You know what? I'm going to talk about something that I think is entirely cool. And I'll update my title because I have a title. The Great Resignationing. We'll call it that. So, the Great Resignationing, I saw, everywhere you look, you hear people talking about how there is this crisis of all these lazy people not wanting to work and all this other shit. And I talk quite a bit about this. Lately, I've been enjoying the kink of resignation via text. I think a lot of people get a good kick out of that. But I am not without, I'm part of their numbers is what I'm trying to say. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I think there was a really interesting article that I saw. The headline was basically like that they're really upset because workers who are in work from home situations like myself are doing things like having sex, going on dates, taking naps, all of that stuff on company time. And I think that's fucking hilarious. The reality is companies have been shitty for a long time. Not all companies, hashtag not all companies, but a lot of companies have been really shitty about giving their staff space to do things like, go to appointments and things like that. This is because we have this sort of cultural mindset that says the company don't owe you shit. You owe the company everything. Now, it's probably worth mentioning for anyone that is new to the stream, I am a libertarian socialist, which means that I am a prick and that nobody likes me, which I'm okay with. It also means that I'm not so big on the bosses and their role in the world. So anyways, I think it's fantastic because businesses need to understand that I'm gonna do things. The old joke about pooping on the company dime. I'm not having sex on company time because I'm not having a whole lot of sex. But if the opportunity presented itself, I probably would. If you're watching and you're my boss, hi boss. Well, here's the thing. To me, it always comes down to the important question: did I get my shit done? Did I do a good job? Right? I don't care about my company not liking the fact that I do things like, because I'm working from home. Yeah, I've been taken to napping for my lunch break, and it's wonderful, so wonderful. And so what? So what? Right? If I left work early or wasn't 100% focused on work or whatever, at the end of the day, either I'm doing good work with good quality and good quantity, or I'm not. And if I'm not, fucking fire me. But if, let's just say, I had me, the regular visits from a lurid encounter person, and I was doing that on company time. Yes, that makes me a whore because I'm getting paid. I'd be a sex worker. But if the company's happy with the work I'm doing, I don't give a fuck. And I think that that's something that businesses need to fucking learn. More power to the people, especially when it comes to having sex at work. I don't like the idea of having sex in a traditional office space because I feel like that would be distracting to the other people. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about traditional office space. We're talking about people who are fucking in their own homes, probably getting paid for it. More power to you. Sex work is real work. But I think it's interesting, this whole conversation around can't find good workers, because I've been not sure about this one, right? Obviously, like, we know that there are workers who didn't go back to work after COVID because of things like being a caregiver to children, that just they did that for a while and thought, what, we've adjusted our lives, I don't need to go back. And then there's the shitty jobs, the fast food jobs that they're like, oh, we can't find anyone to work in our shitty fast food job. And you go, all right, I guess that's a thing you have to deal with, isn't it? Then the other thing that factors in, like, so I believe actually last time I mentioned my buddy, who has been out of work for a very long time. He's a high-end engineer, and he has been without work because there just hasn't been a lot of engineering work. He is now working. I found out yesterday. He's actually the guy that drove me to the dump earlier. He is now working at a rate of $30 an hour. $30 an hour for someone of that ilk is absolutely appalling. Like he is fully able to command a lot more money per hour than that. But you know, the bosses have the power. And it was funny because he was telling me about the job interview, and it's a guy he knows, and the guy was like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $30 an hour," and he was like, "Really?" And he's doing the mental math, and he's looking at, because he's been out of work for a long time, and he had savings and things, but it's kind of all squandered. So $30 an hour will cover the burn rate of his day-to-day existence, and not a whole lot more. Just because he has expenses like the rest of us, and he's lived he's older than I am, and he's lived a long life and has house payments and car payments and all the other shit. So $30 an hour is enough for him to keep the lights on and keep the creditors at bay and not further diminish his savings. But they're not getting any kind of loyalty out of you, right? The minute another opportunity presents itself, he's fucking out of there. And I don't know why companies don't seem to get this. My eldest kiddo was, they're looking for work, and I said to them, "Hey, there's a buddy of mine says that WestJet's hiring lots and lots of jobs." And they looked at that, and my eldest kiddo is a late stage millennial. And eldest kiddo looked at the website and was like, "Yeah, they're hiring, but they're hiring all these jobs where angry patriots are going to cough on you and explain that COVID is in fact a lie by the Jewish globalists, blah 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 blah, mind control." And they were like, I don't want to do that. I don't want that job. That job can fuck right off. This is something that is new. And it's something that is interesting to me. A long time ago, I read this book. So I got the opportunity to see this guy, Dr. Richard Florida. And Dr. Florida wrote a book called The Rise of the Creative Class. And it's about how creative workers kind of are breaking all of the traditionally accepted rules of employment. In that, the best example I can think of is... the idea, if there are jobs, people will come for them. So he was living in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh had real problems with, I think it was the steel industry collapsing on Pittsburgh. And how are we going to do? Well, I hear that tech is the thing. So let's rebrand and build a tech industry. And they spent some money, and they got a lot of funding for things like school, post-secondary projects and things like that were involved in the tech sector. And the most notable of these was a search engine called Lycos, which old-timers like me will remember Lycos. It didn't last very long, but it was a really good search engine at the time. And the city of Pittsburgh gave them this beautiful office and funded the creation of this project and spun it into a independent corporation. It was a real win for them. And Dr. Florida went on. He was going to Harvard to get his doctorate, and reads in the newspaper that Lycos is moving. And so he calls people back in Pittsburgh. He's like, "What happened? Why is Lycos moving? We put so much into this." And the people who worked there were like, "Yeah, but we can't get anyone to work these jobs." Now that's opposed to everything we know about economies. If there's work, people will come and they will do that work, and thus the circle of life continueth. That didn't happen, and it was one of the things that triggered this whole Alta Vista, Yahoo, Lycos web crawler. Don't forget Ask Jeeves. But that's one of the things that triggered him to write this book. Anyways, people are doing this thing where they're saying, I'm not going to work the shitty job. And it's not that people are lazy and collecting welfare and all the other shit. It's simply that they're adjusting their lives accordingly and saying no. And fuck yeah. Because bosses need to hear no. They need to hear no a lot more. And my generation, Gen X, we didn't do that. We went, sure. And really it came to, I saw a meme and it was like, it was this guy, like an open letter from a Gen Xer to the millennials and the Gen Zs. And it was like, I don't know how you guys did it, but you're fucking awesome. You're fucking awesome. My generation was told all these wonderful things about, like, you're going to get a job with a company and work there till you retire. And like 20 minutes after we got our first job, we're like, well, that's a bunch of horse shit. And so we did what Gen X was taught to do, and that was the least amount possible. Now, I can't say that's true for me, but it's true for my generation. And to me, that's kind of funny. But, the guy's like, and that's what we did. We did the least amount possible to just float under the radar, and like, you don't want to respect me? Fine, I'm not going to respect you. Fuck you. Your generation is just like, no, I don't need this job. I will do something else. I'll go on, the Naked People website. Clearly, I'm a member. I can't even think of it. You know what? OnlyFans. I'll go on OnlyFans and pay my rent. I'll, hustle a million side gigs, whatever the case is. I don't need to work in your company. You can suck a fart. If there are jobs and there are vocations, if your vocation is also your job, life can be very good. I believe that's true. The idea of, in my case, so I consider myself a musician. I'm not a great musician, but I am not a terrible musician. And if I was able to have a job where I was a musician, I would be far advanced from where I am, and it would be fucking rad. But I'm not. These are facts. I think I would love if my job was my vocation. But I don't know, because, I also have that fear that then I would have to, like, do all the shitty parts of being a musician, like playing in cover bands or... I remember my mom gave me shit once. When my ex-wife and kids moved to Kelowna, I looked for work there. And I was like, well, I want to be near my kids. I'll look for work in Kelowna. They call it Silicon Vineyards, so there's got to be tech jobs up there, and I work in the tech industry. And no, there wasn't. And the jobs that I was getting offered, at this point I had like a decade's worth of experience, and they were offering me like less than I made when I graduated college in a junior role. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And my mom was like, you do what's necessary for those kids. And I was like, yes. And sometimes what's necessary for those kids is me living in a whole different city and paying all of their bills and seeing them whenever I can. And I explained it to her. I said, my mom has a degree in music. And I said, if the only job you could get was teaching kids grade 1 piano and only grade 1, you could never see them progress, you could only do grade 1 piano, you wouldn't take that job because it would be terrible and it wouldn't be worth your time. And she sort of got that. Anyway, so yeah, my mom provides a good illustration of an example of a music job I might not like. It's an interesting time watching the struggle between organized labor, regular unorganized labor, and the bosses. The number of strikes that are going on right now, or have been going on recently, is huge. And fuck yeah. You have all of these people who are saying, we would like to have pensions. We would like to have, maybe even like limited to a 60-hour work week or some, like ridiculous amount of work like that. And, give us, decent health care. And the companies are like, it's a really hard time for us right now, COVID. And then they talk about their record profits. Sorry, homie, if you're making record profits, you're extracting all that value from your staff. You don't get to not reward people. You know, my friend working in this engineering company making $30 an hour, he's not putting in $30 an hour worth of work. He's putting in $200 an hour worth of work because that's how he is. And that means that you're, you know, not only are you doing the thing where the business extracts all the value out of the employer or employee, but you're making it worse by forcing the employee to take even less. And the only reason he took this job is just because he needed something to prevent from going completely to the dogs. The predators are still there in your vocation. Music, no predators and shitty contracts while the label makes all the dough in that. This is true. I always enjoy the stories of people who make it in music on their own terms. It's very, very rare, but very, very cool. And I've known a few people that have made, a friend of mine is a drummer, and he, you know, music is his job, and he does so by hustling for private lessons and doing session work and, you know, all of that stuff. And you know, he's putting in the work and he's paying his bills through music, and that's cool. I'm a single dad. I really can't do that. So I, you know, bend down and suckle at the mighty teat of industry. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It is Halloween. My eldest son just showed up in a rainbow polka dotted, is it a onesie?
Yeah, it's a unicorn onesie.
A unicorn onesie. Why wouldn't it be a unicorn onesie?
Best I can do is I can give you the
Hello, Sugar. It's good to see you. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I saw on the Facebooks that you had a fun conversation with the bear the other day, so that's awesome. The two of you with the Mumio and Sunnyo, or however you say it. Anyways, me just saying hey to a friend. Sugar, if you're coming, are you coming down to Heavy Halloween tonight? Because I'm the DJ. Little spoiler, it's all this like metal and punk, and then I made sure that at some point I'm gonna play the DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince Classic Jam Nightmare on My Street, because it's Halloween. So I got this phone call, still on the topic of the Great Resignation-ing. I got this phone call from a headhunter this week, and he calls up. Originally, it was an email, and he sent me an email, and he was like, "Hey, that's great opportunity, cybersecurity business analyst, exactly like your skill set. Like you'd be perfect for it. Let me know." So I replied, and I was like, "Here's the thing, buddy. I have a gig. It's a good gig. More importantly, I have a feeling like your rate is exactly this to this that you're offering. I'm not going to use numbers. It doesn't matter how much money I make in my day job. Fuck the world. But this to this. This is your rate that you're asking." I said, "I make way more than that, and the job that you're asking for is worth way more than that. But you don't want to pay it because you think that you can get away with not paying it. So no, I'm not interested." So he calls me, and he's like, "I wanted to talk to you about this." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you want to say?" He's like, "Well, first off, how did you know the rate? Because you got it right." And I was like, "Because I keep getting calls." And originally I would get excited about it because, you know, like, oh, wow, hey, a new gig, a potential new gig might be an awesome opportunity. And then they tell you the rate and you're like, are you shitting me? No, I have a degree. I have 25 years of experience. I'm really good at my job, and I'm specialized in a couple of key areas that are huge right now that you're looking specifically. Cybersecurity is massive right now. And like, no, you don't get to pay next to nothing for that. Here is a bag of dicks. You may consume them at your leisure. So he was like, "Well, you know, what would you charge me?" And I told him, "This is what I currently am making, and I wouldn't leave for less than $10 an hour or more. And he's like, okay, I want you to get me a resume. I will never hear from this company because essentially I'm worth like 1.5 times what they're looking for paying people. But I think companies are starting to feel the reality of the situation. That's why I had that conversation, because I was like, dude, I'm not gonna eat your shit. And he was like, wait, tell me more about this shit eating you won't do. So I don't know. We'll see what all happens. But yeah, I do find that the whole thing that we're going through with all these people who are, businesses are moping about no one wants to work these jobs. Well, is the job full time? No. Oh, it's part time, and people would have to work 2 or 3 of these to pay their rent. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Do you offer a reasonable competitive wage? No. Oh, well, that's something you might want to consider. What about benefits? What about some kind of respect for your... Oh, no, we don't want to do that. You just want someone... you see job postings, and it's like, must have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in whatever. And then they go, and we're paying you the legal minimum wage. Oh. Well, fuck you then. No. Like, I don't understand how people think that's even a thing. I always dress up as a ... not funny. I don't know what you mean. I am Canadian. I don't dress up. Meh. And sugar, I always dress up. I'm so bad about Halloween. I always come up with great ideas for Halloween in like January. And I'm like, yes, this is the year. I'm going to spend the time and the money. I'm going to get amazing with latex and make myself like a pinhead costume. It'll be so good. It'll be like a long project, but it'll be super good. And then the day of Halloween, or the Halloween bash that I'm going to, I go, oh yeah, I haven't thought about this yet. So, chat, feel free to suggest Halloween costume ideas. I'll give you some rules, guidelines. I don't have any money, so I'm not buying anything. I don't have a lot of clothes or costumes or wigs or anything. So how about a priest with an orange collar? If I had an orange collar, I used to, when I was in the band the Regurgitones, every show we did was like a different theme. And we did a tent revival a couple times. So, and it was exactly the opposite hair that I have now. That was back when I was buzzing my head. And I allowed it to grow just a little bit, and then I shaved like this, so I had fake male pattern baldness. It's at the border crossing. So yeah, I had male pattern baldness, and I had a bad suit and a way too small tie. And I looked ridiculous, and I was Pastor Ted Haggard. So I've done the faith healing thing, and it's a lot of fun. I also had on a choir gown. We actually went to Value Village, and we found all of these choir gowns, which I theoretically still have, but I have no idea where it would be. And I actually I know where it is, and it's filthy. It's in the bottom of a box in my closet. So I'm afraid the choir gown will not work. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking I might just like slick my hair back and wear a tux. Pretend like I'm getting married. I don't know. Actually,
I came up with one for you. I got this pack of mustaches, and one of them looks like a unibrow, and one of them looks like a really flat mustache. And there's a Pixar dad who looks just like that. And we were thinking you could like put that over your eyebrow so it covers your eyes, and then every time you open your eyes real wide.
Where's this mustache we're talking about?
She's downstairs. I'll run and grab.
You grab it when... No, you don't have to do it this second. He's busy making a marijuana preparation. So I don't want to get in the way of his weeding. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. It's who else? So there's the Not Know Hows, Flashback, Owls and Eagles, and Iron Tusk. So pretty sweet lineup from all across Alberta. I believe the No, I think that's actually Calgary Siksika. I think is probably more fair. Weeding the garden is far more enjoyable these days, right? So I have not been a weed consumer for a very long time. I smoked weed when I was in high school, but not often because I was poor. And then stopped, started a little bit, stopped, and it's probably been like a bunch of time. And so I've recently decided that I would start the smoking of the weed again, and that has been fun. I really am enjoying just the and it's pathetic because I'm getting old man weed because I'm an old man. And I went into the weed shop near me and I was like, hey, I want to get some weed. And they're like, well, this is pretty good here. You know, it's like 8,000 times more tough than you can handle. And I was like, or what if I suck at this? And I need to get like something that you would maybe give to like a aging grandmother who wanted to try the marijuana weeds. And they laughed and they were like, there's this stuff called dance hall. And so I have been imbibing, genuinely enjoying the process of reconnecting with my one-time love, marijuana. Ain't your seed-filled BC Thunderfuck. Ain't your seed-filled BC Thunderfuck or tie stick. Yeah. The weed these days is like it's next level shit. And that's the thing is the part of the reason I didn't smoke weed for so long is all my friends smoke these like ridiculously strong indica, knock you on your ass, and I would be like, and then all of a sudden I'm waking up 3 days later. You're like, it just I'm super bad at it. So the stuff that I have now is like beyond the lightest of lights. It's probably not even. It's probably literally oregano, but it works. It's more like knock me into consciousness. I wish. Indica will absolutely make me sleep immediately, and it makes my brain like foggy and garbagey. And what I loved about smoking weed when I was a kid was that I could be all creative and interesting and write and laugh, and it was all like a really positive, bubbly, good feeling. And so the indica shit just like knocks me on my ass. And all my friends smoke this like military weaponry grade weed that you feed to a population before you swoop in and murder them all. And I'm like, nope, that's not for me. Couch lock is fun for a day or two. Day 3 hurts. I'm at an age now, and I know I am Canadian, that you can relate to this. I'm of an age where if you sit long enough, your whole body gets angry at you. Like, it's the weirdest shit. Yesterday, in this whole preparation for getting stuff to the dump today, this love seat was in my basement, and eldest son was assisting me with a variety of things, but he also had he had a bed that he needed to destroy. It was not going to easily get moved out in the shape that it was in, so he took a knife and he destroyed the bed. And it was a comedically awful process because beds are fascinating marvels of engineering. And so he's dealing with this like clusterfuck in his bedroom, going like, oh my God, there's shit everywhere. And I didn't want to bug him. And I had to take this love seat upstairs. And it's a good size, but it's not that terribly heavy. It's a leather love seat with a wood frame and shit. And I was like, I probably can do this. Can lift a love seat by myself up a flight of stairs, turn it, lift it up again, another flight of stairs. No problem. Did that. It was a breeze. Sit in a chair for 2 days. Well, you're just talking crazy talk. My whole back will be, I just got this. That's how shit's going to be. So yeah, I can lift a couch. I just can't sit in one. I don't know how the world is. All right. What else do we want to talk about? I have stuff. I always have stuff just in case. Yeah. Let's talk about how stupid it is that Facebook is rebranding. So this is an important topic for me because I'm old, and old people are on Facebook. apparently that's not good enough for the Zucker Christ. So he wants to make sure that young people think that it's the hippest, happiest, swingingest place. So they're rebranding and they're stealing from DC Comics to do so. It's going to be meta. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know. I'm not pretending like, big leak happening here. But it's just fucking funny to me because, like, no one cares. I never met a meta I didn't like. Nicely played, sir. Little pun in cheek there. For me, interestingly enough, I'm polyamorous, and meta is a term used in the polyamory community for the partner of your partner. So, if I am dating a girl and she has a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something, those people would be my metamors. So, meta being the shorthand. I don't use these terminologies because I hate jingoism. But that's a thing. So when I didn't know what it was. The first thing I saw about it was a lump of cheese and it said feta, and I was like, "Okay, I don't get this joke." And then I heard, the Zucker Christ preaching from on high about the metaverse and how he was going to create the metaverse. You know what crossed into my head at the time? I just realized my title's wrong. I'm just going to quickly update that title. If I can figure out how to do that quickly. Meta. Rebrand. Cool. Alright, good enough. Clearly I put a lot of thought into my stuff. I guess they aren't changing the name of Facebook, just the corporate name. And I think that what they're going to start doing is using that Meta as a brand to talk about, WhatsApp and Instagram and the whole family of things. What I found fascinating about that is, like, it's like telling the government, we're now too big for our britches. You might as well change the name to, like, Social Media Monopoly Co. That's probably a bad look. And someone is going to say, wait a second, look at all of the things in the metaverse. Is this good? Now, in the US, no one's going to do shit. I mean, they allowed the AOL Time Warner merger. That was pretty fucking ridiculous. So Facebook isn't going to happen. Unless, like, Facebook buys Amazon or Amazon buys Facebook, no one's going to see anything happen there. The privatization of currency will help. I don't know what you mean by will help. But yeah, anyways, so the Zuckerman decided he needed to rebrand, and I've been involved in rebranding projects. I once worked for a consulting firm that went from being Clay Information Management Consulting to being Clay Incorporated. So much sexier. But that doesn't fucking matter. Or no, it was Clay Management Limited to Clay Information Management Consulting, because they were like, this isn't awkward and long enough. And then I worked for Pan Canadian Petroleum when they rebranded to become Pan Canadian Energy. And then when they merged with Alberta Energy Corporation and they rebranded both the merged end result as Encana. And then I worked with the rebranded, when that company split, I worked with Synovus. So brand shit is not new to me. And I can always smell it when a company needs to rebrand and it's not as a result of a merger or a divestiture. It's because someone's getting paid a lot of money and needs to justify their existence. That's all it is. This is Ovintiv, which is now the name of I think that was in Canada that became Ovintiv, didn't it? And then moved to the States, taking all of that sweet, sweet COVID money we gave them. Thanks, guys. What do I think about the solar flare? I'm gonna let's find out about the solar flare together. Yeah, because I don't really care to talk about Zuckerberg anymore. All right, so we did this. Let's go. Solar flare, OMG, and I don't know anything about it, so we're going to. Where's my tab? Fucking fuck. All right. So I'm going to paste the link that you provided. Thank you, sugar. And then I will slurp over here. Here Comes the Sun, How a Massive Solar Storm Could Put Canada at Risk. By Carol McGrath, Global News. I'm not going to watch the video, it's probably copyrighted. Get ready. An epic solar storm may be heading our way. One so big, it could knock out power grids, damage satellites, cause internet blackouts, and essentially take down our modern life as we know it. It's known as a 1 in 100 years solar storm. So already I'm hooked. I don't know who's even in this movie, but I'm fucking in. Plasma photons, the power of a local star, and I say it's all right. Here comes the sun, and I say, all right, let's find out. Solar storms are an explosion of energized particles hurled from the sun, known as flares or coronal mass ejections (CME). Personally, I like, baby, I want a coronal mass ejection. Not gonna lie, I just wanted to hear this character voice. Which one? The I can do the guy who does the my corona. Sorry, that was terrible. I am Canadian. You're awful. I can continue to read this in the voice of the guy who does trailers for blockbuster movies. If you want, sugar. Small-scale storms occur regularly, but every century or so, there is an extreme eruption. On Earth, we're about to enter a busy season for solar activity. According to research scientist Robin Fiore, high solar activity occurs on an 11-year cycle, and we just got out of a low period. For the record, when you just said it was a 1 in 100 years and now it's 11, like, fuck off. You're just shortchanging. That's just bullshit. Sorry. We're ramping up from a period of very low activity where we didn't see a lot of flares or coronal mass ejaculations to a point where we're starting to see more and more activity. And we're starting to expect the potential for more impacts, Fiore said. Fiore and her colleagues at the Canadian Hazards Information Service monitor the sun's activity using both satellites located near and above the Earth and ground-based instruments. Wait, they don't use satellites on the Earth? Just the ones in the sky were higher than the sky? That seems so weird. I'm fucking rolling around laughing. Yeah, things that sound like porn but aren't. Although, there's probably a porn for solar flares. These help us to look at the impacts of the solar activity on our magnetic field and also on the upper atmosphere and ionosphere, so that we can look at potential impacts to the systems on and near the Earth, Fiore told Global's current affairs program, The New Reality. The electrical power grid is one of those systems. With over 4 million customers, Hydro-Québec is acutely aware of the risks. Louis Gibson, an engineer for Hydro-Québec, says the utility was hit by a big storm in March 1989 that caused a 9-hour blackout. To this day, this is the biggest impact a solar storm has had on any electrical utility. So this, for us, was a wake-up call, and we had to take this matter very, very seriously, Gibson said. 9 hours of the purge. I do find it, like, I get that a 9-hour blackout is a serious impediment to a lot of people. And, if it's in winter, that can be a real threat to humans. But also, like, okay, the sun hates us sometimes. It will give you cancer. It will take away 9 hours of your Facebooking. Okay, back in the voice, back in character. That power failure forced the public utility to install safety equipment to protect the system from sudden electrical surges caused by solar storms. It now regularly runs simulation scenarios to test everything. So there is a standard in place now in North America where the electrical utilities have to make sure you have to plan and prepare, and it works so they can withstand a 1 in 100 years strong event, Gibson said. So just for this, we get help from various space weather experts, probably all of Space Force. We're made of stardust. This is the only part of the process. Someone bought shares in renewable energy and they're trying to make them worth something, right? What I love about this is if it destroys satellites, like Elon just spent a fuck ton of money for his SpaceX shit. And it's like, all right. That once in 100 years storm is what everyone worries about. The world witnessed one in 1859. It is known as the Carrington event, named after the amateur astronomer Richard Carrington, who spotted the activity on the sun. The storm was so big that it literally set telegraph wires on fire. Boy, I sure hope it doesn't burn up the tubes that are the internet. The storm was so big that it literally set telegraph wires on fire. It is likely to happen again, but this time it will impact a lot more than just our power grids. Elon used government subsidies to get them up there. He'll just do it again. Oh, yeah. That's the nice thing about when you're rich. You don't have to be successful. You can just use the government. Energetic particles coming from the sun can directly... Okay, I can't... I'm going to have to... It's a little hard on the throat. So, yeah, it can fuck with stuff. Just disable and reduce the lifespan of satellites. Critical cables running into the sea might also be at risk. These cables are the thing that you use when you're doing a Zoom call, when you're surfing on the internet, or when you're trying to get content from one country to another. There's probably enough cable in the seas to go around the world about 30 to 50 times. A component of these cables, known as a repeater, is particularly sensitive to solar activity. It helps power all the electronics, but it left unprotected from a storm, it could get cause surges in the system and cables could get fried. If you have a really big storm event, that could induce quite a large current to go through the cable, said Frisch, who is based north of London in the United Kingdom. Me, I use a surge protector, just saying. So there's a solution. Could in fact turn the cable system down and disconnect it until you were sure the event was finished. But the good thing about these really extreme events is that you get some warning for them. Less warning than you think, because they're already 8 minutes in the future, man. Fiore said by monitoring solar activity, they should be able to provide utilities and companies with a 1 to 3 day warning depending on the size of the storm. So 8 minutes is fucking nothing. That's the role of the Canadian Hazards Information Service, because space weather is a hazard. It's a hazard to the technological age. So the first thing I'll say about this is I fucking love the term space weather. I think space weather, fucking brilliant. This is why, then why do we have 5G poles? Elon, and this is just more of that COVID bullshit, fucking lefties are causing this, vote Trump. It's true. It's clearly fake news, because the government wants you to be afraid. And they want to be able to take down the power grid at any time so that the only power in your house comes from the vaccine microchip radiating Wi-Fi power into the world so that the 5Gs can come and the crows will all know what we're doing because they have cameras inside them and they're robots. And that just makes sense, because why would I have to justify any of this? It's madness. All right, I think it's time for me to go for a little quick stretch of the old legs and lungs. 5 Jesus. I will be back in a couple minutes. I will put on some of my terrible music. This particular thing, I think, is me playing trumpet and bass, and I'm pretty sure the trumpet is awful. But I haven't heard it, so I'm gonna have to. We'll get through this together, I promise. And I'll put on, to go with that, let's play some kind of a speech. Who's a good Canadian that we can have speak? Shit. Good Canadians. I'm running out. You know what? Rachel Notley. Speech. Oh, the election night speech. That's 5 minutes. That's not going to be enough. Full Notley concession speech. Victory. There we go. We have the Alberta election 2015 victory speech. It'll be enough time for me to go outside and come back. Here we go. And why is it fucking saving it? I don't need to save it. I have no idea how good this or bad this is going to be. Oh, and it's doubling up because I've got my Reaper input 1, so I can mute that. And where's my thing?
I think we might have made a little bit of history tonight. Friends, I believe that change has finally come to Alberta. New people, new ideas, and a fresh start for our great province. Now, you know, Albertans are gracious people, and tonight I want us to be gracious because I want to begin by talking a little bit about my colleagues in this election. My friends, thank you. I've just spoken to Premier Jim Prentice. Now, Jim Prentice has served our province in many roles for many years, at the provincial and at the federal level, in government and in business. And I want to thank the Premier for the enormous contribution that he has made to our province. Whatever he will do in the next step in his journey, I know he will be thinking about how to build Alberta. I've also just spoken to Brian Jean, leader of the Wild Rose Party. Now, Mr. Jean stepped into his job as leader only a few weeks ago, and he now takes up his role as leader of the official opposition. And Brian, I want to say, through your courage in the face of family tragedy, you have earned the respect of every Albertan, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And I also spoke with Dr. David Swan. And to you, David, I want to thank you for your contribution and your commitment to your party and to our province. And to everyone who ran as a candidate in every party in this election, and the thousands of volunteers who supported them, I want to thank you for your dedication and your service. And let me say to my amazing campaign team, our candidates and our volunteers all across this province, thank you for your extraordinary efforts. And you know, I'd like to just say one thing about our candidates and our elected MLAs. I haven't done the math yet, but I think have elected the most women in any government caucus. So that's kind of cool. So, but most of all, to the people of Alberta, I want to thank you for putting your trust in our party. I am deeply I want to say that I am deeply humbled, and I want to pledge to you, the people of Alberta, that we will work every day to earn your trust. You know, it's been said before, and it's true. You can't go wrong if you stay in touch with the values and the common sense of Albertans. In this province, we're optimistic, we're forward-looking, we're entrepreneurial, we're community-minded, and we are careful with the family budget. And that, my friends, is the kind of government that we will work to be. I'd also like to say, to Alberta's job creators, great and small, in the energy sector and in every other sector, our government will be a good partner, and we will work with you to grow our economy and to secure a more prosperous future for every Albertan in every community.
Yay! All right, that was Rachel Notley's victory speech. If you are one of the people that is new to the channel, I'm a Canadian. I live in Alberta, and Rachel Notley is... I have a thing on my face. Let me get rid of my thing on my face, because clearly I don't need a thing on my face. There we go. That's better. Rachel Notley was elected premier. It was the first time we had a left-ish premier of Alberta, which is like a governor if you're from the U.S. or like whatever the hell from other country land. It was a fine time for Alberta. We literally had like, I think 80 years of conservatives, and so we had 4 years, and they were good, and they were prosperous, and the economy did well, and then we elected more conservatives. Love my town. All right, once again, I am Big Ugly Jim. It is on Twitch as a Big Ugly Jim because Big Ugly Jim was already taken, so I'm a Big Ugly Jim. I am not that big. I am not that ugly. It's an old nickname. I was uglier before. I grew into my head. What can I say? I see I've got some people in the chat still. I see I Am Canadians here. And Erg Olta, Arabs, and Abbott Costello. So hopefully, for those that are new, you're enjoying. Feel free to join in the chat. Say stuff, and we can gab accordingly. I think Sugar had to split, so if Sugar's split, well, I love her. She's one of my favorite humans, and I hope that she's doing well. All right, I'm going to talk about something that I have no place talking about. I don't even know if I spelled that right. Chappelle. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Dave Chappelle. Because you know what? There's a controversy right now. And what the world needs whenever there's a controversy is for a middle-class, middle-aged white man to tell us how to think about it. Clearly. So first and foremost, I find this a fascinating thing because it's a classic example of how the media wants to sow this kind of anger and frustration and divisiveness. Because I haven't really seen a whole lot of people being upset about this in the trans community. largely the content that I've seen has been from trans creators has been very like, there are things about this that are problematic, but for the most part, Dave Chappelle's trying. He fails a couple things. The whole Team Turf thing, probably a poor choice, but it could be far worse. And the trans community has encountered far worse. So, certainly there were people at Netflix who walked out. And it's, to me, it's so gross seeing how this is being represented as poor Dave Chappelle being canceled. I don't really think Dave Chappelle's being canceled. He's a very rich man. Netflix didn't take the show down. It seems like there's been no negative impact on Dave Chappelle's life aside from some Twitter mob hate, probably. But yeah, no matter what you do, if you're on the Twitter, you're probably going to get Twitter mob hate as a fairly regular thing. I don't feel like he's suffering, and I don't feel that he should. I feel like there's room for growth, but it could be a lot worse. I also feel like there was some insensitivity. Should he be canceled? Is that what you're asking? I am Canadian. My answer to that is no. The left doesn't, contrary to what people want to say, the left doesn't really cancel people. The left is usually more about calling people out and saying you need to do better, and hopefully then they do better. That's sort of always the goal. So I don't think Dave Chappelle should be canceled. I feel like there are some things that need to get adjusted in his worldview. One of the things, a friend of mine, we were talking about this, and the comment that she made was that the impression she got was that, Dave was just expressing frustration about the fact that the trans community has done so much better in recent years, better than the black community, and that's a very real complaint. And I don't think that's a very real complaint. I think that's kind of a whiny piss take. I'm not saying that that's not how he feels, because I don't fucking know how he feels. But, really, oppression isn't an Olympics. And it feels like, if you're bitter because someone else is doing better than you, well, that's kind of life. And he hasn't explained his intent or how he feels. He's a TERF. I don't even think he's a TERF. Listening to the actual things that he was saying, I don't think he knows what TERF means. And he's talking about how, there are two genders. All that is the very, very common lack of understanding of the difference between gender as a social construct, biological sex, and the realities of trans life, which I am also completely ignorant of in the sense that I've never experienced them and I don't know what that would be like. But I don't think that, in my mind, TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist is someone who, it's a very second wave feminist perspective to say we don't want trans women in our feminist movement. That is a shitty thing. I don't think that's what Dave Chappelle means. Again, I don't fucking know what Dave Chappelle means, but the impression I've got from listening to the bits of I haven't seen the special because I don't really feel like I need to. I've seen a lot of clips of it discussed, and I feel like he failed on understanding. It would be like if somebody came along and said well, yeah, I'm on Teen Clan, and didn't realize just what they were ascribing. But maybe I'm being kind. Maybe he's a TERF and he deserves to be swallowed up by the universe. I'm okay with either way. But certainly he did not get canceled. And I think that argument is pretty weak. I wanted, however, because I know, white male perspective is the key. But I think a much better perspective comes from Jessie Gender, who is a trans woman and is a YouTube creator. I'll post the link to this in chat, and if I actually make a VOD out of this, it'll go up there somewhere as a thing that people can click on. Where's my chat screen? God damn it. He was attacked, not canceled. Yeah, and I don't even know if attacked is the right word, but certainly it's not like he lost any money. It's not like he lost any status. He seems to be doing all right, the poor fella. So let's switch to our video watching screen, and let's hear what Jesse has to say. I'm just taking a clip of this. This is a larger video called How Dave Chappelle's Canceling Weaponizes Anti-Trans Division. Now, I should probably mention Jessie Gender has an earlier video that I also sort of quickly mentioned previously. I think it's fantastic. In that video, she goes through the closer and talks about her perspective on all of the bits and pieces. And this is sort of an after the fact talking about the question of, the canceling. And I thought this part in particular was really interesting.
Bigot. And I think most people understand that. I mean, if you look at Jacelyn Moore, who was the trans woman showrunner of Dear White People, who initially quit Netflix, in an interview she stated,
I don't think it's my place to tell Dave Chappelle what he needs to do. He should make the jokes that he wants to make. I cannot like them, and that's what I'm saying here. I don't think pulling the special is the answer. I don't think that's a reasonable outcome here. What I really want is I want companies to hire trans people to work there who can say, hey, we sure about this? The fact of the matter is there are very rarely trans people in those rooms, and yet we are so often the subject of the derision. We're very rarely in any decision-making positions, and I think that's my bigger concern.
Even if we go beyond her, as I mentioned before, the Netflix workers, when they did their walkout, had a list of asks. I've been trying to say that like 5 times. I've reshot this like 5 times. I could not say list of asks. I don't know why I phrased it in my script that way. Anyways, the Netflix workers had a list of asks that they had for Netflix around the closer and around what they hope to have happen after their walkout. And if you look at them, not one of them is to remove the closer from Netflix. In fact, the list is mostly just asking for more trans people to be hired, both on camera and behind it, especially when it comes to trans-focused content. So as we can see, the most prominent voices in this discussion around Dave Chappelle aren't calling for Dave Chappelle to be canceled. In fact, most people, like Moore, myself, the Netflix worker walkouts, and a lot of trans folks, just want trans people, especially trans people of color, to be in the room, to be part of the conversation from the beginning, especially when the topic or media or things being created at hand are about us.
And I think that's the kicker, right? I think that is exactly the point that needs to come out of this. Is it's not, and like I said, I've not seen anyone saying, Dave Chappelle should not have a career anymore. I have not seen people saying Dave Chappelle is a monster who, we should hunt on the streets. I have not even seen people say take the special down. What I've seen is people say, bad take, let's do better. That feels completely acceptable to me. Maybe I'm just some weird leftist, but I think that's what canceling from the left looks like, is people saying, I don't like what you said. And Chappelle made a video after the fact where he talked about the whole canceling of Chappelle, quote unquote. And it kind of feels like a pitch to sell his new documentary more than anything else, which I thought was a little bit grotesque. But that at the end of it, he basically says hey, listen, trans people, if you want to have a talk, fine, we can have a talk, but I'm not gonna bend the knee or whatever. You're gonna meet me on, my terms and all this kind of stuff. And it when I heard it, I was like, dude, that's the thing that you're doing that you're screwing up. I don't really think the special was particularly important. I don't think the special was egregious in any way. I think there was some tone deafness, but comedy, that's a struggle. And actually, in that video that I linked to, Jessie Gender includes a friend of hers who is a comedian who is not trans and makes a joke about trans people that was like legitimately genuinely funny and is the kind of thing that you can do comedy about trans people and just not be an asshole about it. So I just think that it's easy to punch down, and it's so interesting now watching the comedy that I grew up with. When my kid moved in with me, probably about a year after he moved in, we watched Bill Hicks. And I mean, I loved Bill Hicks. When I was a kid, I'm not even a kid, but like, college age, he was so left-leaning and radical and super woke, in the word that didn't exist at the time. And then watching it now through fresh eyes, I was like, huh. Because it's not good. There's a lot of really problematic shit. And, watch Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy said all kinds of terrible shit, which, as a kid, I thought was fucking hilarious. And now I watch it through modern eyes and I go, it's still, funny, but it's you see that it's punching down. In our country, you can shoot and kill a blank N-word, but you better not hurt a gay person's feelings, Chappelle says. Yeah, that's such a shitty take. Because especially given that black trans women are like the leading cause of being a dead black. I'm saying that wrong. They're regularly killed and abused and degraded and all sorts of other stuff. Trans women and trans men don't have a long, illustrious history of doing all the awesome when it comes to like society has treated them poorly. I can't speak about anyone's experience because I'm fucking middle class white man, but like whether it's worse or better for black people or whether trans people have made greater strides in recent time or not, like, so we're not there. Don't fight each other. Fight honkies like me who have the power. Fuck. I cringe at the shit that I laughed at. Yeah, like that's the thing. And like there's differences. You look at Dennis Miller is a good example. Like his earlier SNL timeline stuff was, better, not great, but better. And then he became a right winger, and just like all humor evaporated out of him. Like there was like this, he's held aloft on a cross, and the you can see the rays of comedy leaving his body as the conservative machine sucks it out of him. I don't know. When half of all trans people die of unnatural causes, it's not funny. Totally. There is nothing funny. Like I said, there are funny things you can joke about with regards to the trans community, because you're not, making them the butt of the joke, or you're doing it in a way that's humorous, as opposed to punching down. And I think that, I have to assume, I'm not a Chappelle fan, but a lot of people refer to him as the greatest of all time, or GOAT, which is a fucking acronym I hate. If he is the greatest of all time, he should be able to write a fucking decent joke about trans people that doesn't hurt anyone and doesn't include, I'm Team TERF. Like, dude, it's just a shit take. And I find it hard to believe that trans people are doing so much better than any other group, because there's still getting targeted for violence. They're still having to justify their existence every second of the day. They're still going into, spas and having people freak out about them. I don't feel like they're doing that about a large number of groups, or at least they're doing it more covertly when it comes to other groups. The fact is, my people, the honky people, we're terrible. Not all of us, obviously. Hashtag not all honkies. But we're the ones in power, and we're the ones abusing that power to try and keep on top, which is hilarious because we aren't keeping on top. There is no top. There is only making people have worse times. Make fun of the men that trans chase. There are plenty of jokes there. Eddie Murphy. I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, like, and for the record, I just think the whole thing is ridiculous. Like, it shouldn't be hard to understand the concept of a social construct. It shouldn't be hard to understand the concept that gender is not bimodal. Not bipolar. It's bimodal, meaning, if you think back to your math class, you had your 3 types of averages. You had your mean, your median, and your mode. Mean is the one that we all think of as the average. You take 10 numbers, divide them by, add them together, divided by 10. That's your mean average. Your median is the most middle point. So you have 10 numbers and like a bunch of them are over here. Your median, slides along that scale a little bit. And then your mode, as in bimodal, is where you have, in bimodal, you have 2 very common. They would be considered the averages, but they do not imply that there's only 2 answers. That would be bipolar. Bimodal is there's 2 standouts and a lot of things that sort of, along the spectrum between the 2. It's not that it's hard to understand. They understand it fine. It's not the acceptance and not tolerated part that's the problem. Mean people. They just don't fucking care. I agree. And I think that people look at themselves in a different light than how they are. And that's normal, right? There's a thing that I read years ago that said that the lies we tell are as indicative about who we are, because the truths that we tell obviously are the things that we can back up, the things that we do. We can be, judged based on those things. The lies we tell imply who we wish we were. And that's an interesting thing. Eddie Murphy got caught with a trans sex worker and pretended he was just giving her a ride. He's known for chasing trans people. I remember that. I had totally forgotten about that until you mentioned it. And what I find fascinating about any time you have someone who's like super vocal about, whether it's, trans bad or gay bad or whatever, I mentioned earlier my character, Pastor Ted Haggard, was named after Pastor Ted Haggard, who was the head of the Southern Evangelical Conference or whatever, who was the guy who got arrested as a vocal anti-gay and conservative Christian values dude, got arrested getting shame-fisted by a male hooker on a meth spree. So that's probably not on brand. Fetishizing, totally. Trans women and trans men get fetishized quite a bit. Black women and black men get fetishized. That's where the white men's are so sad and alone. No one fetishizes us. I'm kidding. I'm sure there's plenty of fetishizing white men, but just making a joke that probably didn't work out very well. The world's complicated, and coming up with simple answers to complex problems, like, for example, the idea that there's biological sex. The holes have been poked in that so many times. The idea that we don't even know what genetic markers are necessary for someone to be, male or female, if it was a bipolar system. The idea of the X and Y chromosomes are very simplistic. and not complete, because you have people who have two X chromosomes, who have the body presentation of a male, and vice versa. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant cisgender male of a certain age available for fetishizing. Call 555-6996. Oh, I'll be calling. Fuck, what was I saying? I got distracted. Someone showed me shiny thing. Yeah, it's frustrating. Oh, XY. That's what I was talking about. The whole, yeah, so the biology thing isn't clear and isn't absolute. Not only that, people like to go, well, gender and spectrums and stuff. Like, your sex was always defined by, like you walked up and you were a boy or a girl, and that's at the biological level. Well, no. Because if somebody came up to you and was like, hi, I am a woman, and your eye said all of the things about this, that is a woman, you would go, oh, therefore that is a woman. But they could be, biologically male. That doesn't make you right. And again, biologically male in giant quotation marks, because we don't know what the fuck that is. We didn't ask to see people's DNA. We didn't, sniff their privates. We're just guessing. We're always just guessing. And when we guess wrong, we feel stupid about it. Gonads biology. How many humans didn't come out of a woman at birth confuses people too. How many humans didn't come out of a woman at birth confuses people? Well, it confused me. I think everyone came out of a woman. Be whatever you want. Fuck or don't fuck. Who, what, where, when, why you want. Fuck the haters. Exactly. And fuck at work. Especially when you're working from home. Fuck all the working from home. Do the sex. Sex away. What? Everyone came out of a woman's body? Yep, it's I'm not guaranteeing that. I suppose that there's something to be said about test tube babies. But yeah. Everyone was out of a hoo-hoo. And my best friend and I were talking about this, and she was like, we will get there where someone will be able to have essentially like a uteral transplant and be able to have babies that are biologically feasible and associated with their gender and stuff. Like we're probably going to get there. And that whole like, well, only women's can make the babies is probably not going to last forever, because we're smarter than the Jesus that invented all of us 2,000 years ago. What the fuck? My vagina hurts. Well, stop sitting on it. If we can transplant a liver or kidney, we can figure the rest out too. Yeah, and that's exactly the thing, right? Like, I have no doubt that as we progress, we will figure out how to do all of this stuff. And realistically, like, gender assignment surgery has not been, it's not like it has hundreds of years of practical experience. It's a very recent thing, and we're learning and we're getting better and better at it. And right now, trans women who go through the surgery probably don't talk about the fact that they are exactly the same biologically as a woman. I would be stunned if that was the case, because it's not about biology. It's not about sex. It's about gender. And gender is how we view people in the world and how we view ourselves in the world. It is a social construct. A womb can be inside a trans man and they can give birth. Oh, fuck. Of course. Sorry. And this is an example of getting our brains around stuff is, yes, absolutely. A trans man who is a man can give birth. And a trans man, a man can have a vagina, and a vagina that is functional. Yeah. It's funny because, like, these are things that, the comment that I made about, like, well, yeah, we've all come out of a woman is an ignorant statement and an incorrect one, because there are people who have been born from trans men. This is all getting our brains around the concept that things are not as easy as we think, and that sometimes we can be wrong, and the appropriate response to being wrong is going, oops, I said the wrong thing, and then trying to fix it. trans men are more accepted than trans women. I actually don't know if that's true. There is a certain amount of truth, probably, but I think there was a study I read. Let me see if I can find this real quick, because I thought this was really interesting. Give me one sec. I'm going to the Googles. Let's see if I can find it. Is this? Well, this might be it. I may be wrong. And there's some giant fucking ad on the screen. Okay, let me swap over. Okay. And that's the wrong view, isn't it? Yes. We'll fix that. Okay. Sugar agreed, because they don't threaten cis male sexuality unless they're courting women that the cis male wants. So the reason I say that I'm not sure if I agree or disagree is because of this thing saying lesbians are going extinct, the latest form of transphobia. So, transphobia is surging through the United States with a record-setting number of anti-trans legislative bills, many of which pit vulnerable communities against one another, like Chappelle's special did. Proponents of a bill in Tennessee, for example, say that allowing trans children to participate in youth athletics would destroy women's sports, casting cisgender women as the victims in a disingenuous claim to a feminist politics. Others attempt to exploit divides in the LGBT community. Leaders of the British group LGBT Alliance warn that lesbians are going to become extinct as individuals increasingly identify as trans, a fear echoed both by trans exclusionary groups and by lesbian feminists who in other ways advocate for trans rights. Feminist writer Amy Anderson frets about the extinction of an entire people, and Sherry Moraga worries that butch lesbians, self-actualizing as transmasculine, might become a dying breed. Tomboys, too, have become a point of contention, seen by some as a rarer and rarer species that is going extinct as more tomboyish children identify as trans or non-binary. Now, where I was going with that, and we can, if we want, we can go back and read more of this article. I'm totally happy to do so. But where I was going with that was I had read this study that said that because you keep hearing all the conservative chuds going, gays on the rise because of the power and the kids are being made gay and all that shit that they do, which the numbers don't bear that out. The reality is that the number of lesbians, self-reported lesbians, has been decreasing as some lesbians who probably the more butch lesbian type have decided that they are in fact trans men. That's my understanding of the way that the numbers have gone. And what that makes me wonder when we say that trans men are more accepted than trans women, I think maybe if you look at like this moment in time, that's true. But I think that the fact that this occurred, that trans men who previously described themselves as lesbians only now feel comfortable to describe themselves as trans men, is kind of telling as well. Again, I don't know shit about shit. I'm a straight white dude. I don't fucking, this is not the thing that I know about. All I know is it's an interesting time to be alive, and pretending like lesbians are dying off because the trans men are going to wipe them out of existence is so fucking stupid and transphobic, period. I would exclusively date women if they had cocks, lol. Sick of men shit. I get that. I can honestly say that I have joked many times about how, I'd be gay if it wasn't for the men. And it's because men tend to be pretty awful. I'm generalizing clearly. I'm one of them. And I like to think that I'm not terribly awful. But I don't think there's like a women's pickup artist movement. I don't think there's a women's incel. Well, I mean, incels started with a woman, but the way that group has sort of mutated into its current hideous chud form isn't something that I find in female community spaces. And that's, that's a thing. Men and women are, they're more complex than you can simply go, well, all men are this and all women are that. But yeah, I get why you're probably a little tired of the dude fellas. And the penis thing, I've never understood. I've never really been attracted to penises. I think they're kind of funny looking. Not that other body parts are not funny looking, but when I see one, I go, hey, and when I see the other one, I go, and I see that one a lot more because I have one. Yeah, the whole thing is surreal. I was having a conversation about this last night about a friend of mine was talking about how she felt like kids were having a hard time figuring it all out now. And I was like, well, I think it is a harder time. And it's because in my day, back when I was a boy, in my day, you just weren't given any leeway to ask the question. I got an earring. My dad was like, oh, so you're a faggot. No, Dad, I have an earring. They're two very different things. Admittedly, there's a pole going in a hole, but it's way north of where you should be worried if you're going to be this weird homophobic prick. And I think that, like the idea that kids are being forced to question this now and stuff, like, that's a good thing. I think that the openness of society to that kind of questioning is a positive. It has some drawbacks. And I think that some kids are a lot more confused about their identity than they were in my day. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that the confusion is asking the question and coming up with an answer eventually. I think that's fucking awesome. And so when I see people getting sort of, bent out of shape about all this stuff and getting like, these kids today with their non-binariness and all of the stuff, okay, fine. I wasn't allowed to ask that question. I'm fairly confident that had I asked that question, I'd be pretty comfortable with who and what I am from a I was born a man and I feel like a man. I have always felt myself attracted to women and not felt myself attracted to men. I don't consider that an absolute. I'm sure there are men that I could fall in passionately, wildly in love with. I've just never met one. And I'm old, so, those are not great odds. But I know, had I been questioning those things as a kid, and I did question them, but I very quickly came to the answer that no, this is me. This is who I am. I'm okay with that. And I think that there is a lot more opportunity to question for kids today. And so they do. And they don't have the clear answer of my dad standing over me going, you must be a faggot if you got yourself an earring. It's good because that was a garbage thing to say, but also leads to some confusion. And, the teenage years when we're sort of figuring all this stuff out, those are tumultuous years. Having confusion is probably healthy and probably good. And we, my generation didn't get it because we weren't given the luxury of having that healthy questioning experience. And I think it also speaks a lot to why there's so many people that are problematic about these kinds of topics because they never question. So why the hell are you? You know what I mean? Stupid as the stupid does. Ignorant people going to be ignorant. I watched a show called This Is Us, and I was getting pissed off because every male except one has healthy communication and is emotionally stable. That's telling of who I'm accustomed to dealing with. Yeah. So when I got into the whole world of polyamory, one of the things that I did was I wanted to understand, okay, what does this look like? What are the pitfalls? What are the things? Help me understand, Google. And I found some really great podcasts and stuff. And I found there was a book called More Than Two that I really liked. And all of the things that I encountered in this research, more than two is very, very specific. And I highly recommend if people are looking at communication and wanting to do better, read more than two, whether you're polyamorous or not. It's not like a textbook that will make you a nympho sex fiend. But polyamorous people have to communicate, especially if you want to do so ethically and honestly. You have to communicate, and you have to understand boundaries and all of these things. And these are concepts that are directly attributable to anyone who is in a relationship, one or more partners, doesn't matter. Monogamy, we don't really stress that people need to do this kind of work. And our society is very clear about how a man is supposed to be and how a woman is supposed to be. And, the idea of being poor at communication and not emotionally stable, those are not things that our society is very good at convincing men to do. And I've been victim of that. I have been a poor communicator. I have been emotionally not even unstable, but just undeveloped. When I got married at 19, and I was a fucking child, and it was a not good marriage, and I learned to just sort of hide every aspect of my emotional reaction to things, and just I am a rational person. I don't need to react emotionally and all that kind of stuff, rather than learning how to deal with emotional experiences. Right? This is why I keep talking about wanting to start like a panel conversation about men's issues from a non-incel, non-MRA, non-pickup artist perspective, and just to be like, hey, guys, let's talk about some shit, because we need to do better. And, we're not listening when women say you need to communicate better. Maybe we should listen when a man says it. Maybe that's the thing that's missing. I haven't seen This Is Us, but yeah, I can say that the idea of a show with a bunch of male characters who have healthy communication and skills and emotional stability definitely would seem like some strange ass fiction to me. And all of the internet suddenly hated Jim for saying a thing. I'm a member of 2 of the 3 sex clubs in Calgary. Only one isn't severely misogynistic. Nothing makes my clam dry up and slam shut faster than men who think they have a right to my body. Gross. That I do not doubt. I certainly don't pretend that polyamory is free from misogyny, free from like the immediate example that comes to mind is the old unicorn, right? So I've got my lady wife, and the two of us like to go to the clubs and look for a third, some pretty little vixen who will let us do things to her. But 9 times out of 10, it's that guy who is controlling the conversation, and the guy is saying, "Well, no, we're gonna get a third, but it's got to be a woman, right?" I wouldn't feel comfortable with like a man. I'm not a cock, and I don't want to get like a penis in my bum. So, we're just opening our borders by me having a lady that you can have sex with too. And that dynamic, everyone talks about the three-way concept, and it's so really not guaranteed to be problematic, but often problematic. Let me paint a picture. I should really update my title, because we're not talking about Chappelle now. We're talking about non-monogamous stuff. All right, let me paint the picture. Sally and Dave are in a relationship, and they're in love, but there's problems, and there's realities, and they decide, what? We want to explore opening up our marriage a little bit. Nothing is wrong with this. Rather than reading a fucking book, they decide they're going to head to the bar and find the mysterious lady who will want them both sexually. And the way this presents, I've seen this play out a million times. I'm sure everyone's seen this play out a million times. The way this presents is the woman goes out with the man and she looks around and she sees a girl she likes and she wiggles over all wigglefully and is like, oh, you're pretty. And the girl reacts either with revulsion or interest, and or neutral, in which case interest is implied by the receiver of the feedback as opposed to the person giving it. So what did I say? Sally's like, yeah, let's get to know each other a little better. And then along comes Dave and he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm Sally's husband. It's cool. We're open. And the next thing you know, there you have this triad. And isn't it wonderful that you have Sally and Dave and Juniper? What happens if Juniper decides she doesn't like Dave, but she's in love with Sally? So Dave's probably not going to be okay with the idea that Sally and Juniper get together and there's nothing in it for Dave. So that's not gonna work. So you wind up in this coercive environment where Juniper has to spend time with Dave in order to spend time with Sally, or any combination thereof, and that's just bad. That's coercive relationship. I'm not into that. Not at all. I don't think that's very, very cool. The self-proclaimed unicorns. Ironic, because my eldest son is wearing a unicorn onesie right next to me as we speak. Self-proclaimed unicorn. The self-proclaimed unicorns get under my skin too, though. The misogyny is common. BGG from inside the house. Coming from inside my house. Sorry. Took a second. My old brain was like, what do you mean it's inside your house? Yeah, well, open the door and let it all out. I'm with you. I understand. That's the killer is in your house. The phone call is coming from inside your house. Yes, absolutely. And I feel like we have a lot as a society to learn about misogyny. And I feel like people shut the fuck down when the word misogyny is used. They just like immediately get all, whatever. It's real. Toxic misogyny hurts men too. Toxic misogyny tells us that we're not allowed to have emotions, right? I'm a child of the 80s where the 80s man mythos of a man who was in touch with his feelings was met with as much mockery as anything else, right? 80s man. 80s men are all gay. That was the world I grew up in. So yeah, supposedly the 80s men was supposed to be more evolved and more open and honest and communicative and understanding of their own emotions. And he was clearly just a big gay homo queero. And there was no middle ground there. It was bipolar and not bimodal. Ooh, that's a callback. Yeah, it's a thing. And that should be troubling. For, as a fella, heterosexual, cis-normative fella, it troubles me that it's not common for people to actually, want to have a conversation about this stuff. This stuff isn't rocket science. We're, as a guy, I want to be emotionally evolved. I want to understand the things that are happening inside my heart muscle and my brain muscle. I want to get all of that. I don't know why that should be construed as a negative. Some of the best shit I've ever done in my life was therapy, because I didn't understand the things that were going on inside my brain muscles and my heart muscles. And so I talked to somebody who could help me understand this shit. And it was like super beneficial to me. So I don't see why it's a bad thing. All it means is the community values the male perspective more than anyone else's. So it's not just the man that is problematic. It's people who don't call that shit out too. And I think that the other piece we're so used to, and yeah, I absolutely agree, by the way. I think that we're so used to the idea that when we're talking about patriarchy or we're talking about misogyny, we're leveling the criticism at men. And we're not. We're leveling the criticism at society, and a society that has built itself on some very toxic concepts. The idea that emotions are a form of weakness for the ladies, but women can do that because they're the weaker of the sexes. Blah blah blah. I don't think that men having emotions is a bad thing. And men are harmed by the idea of them, any emotional reaction is weakness, right? That does grave harm to men. I had a buddy of mine who's going through some stuff, and I know the stuff that he's going through, having experienced my own version of this, and he reached out about an incident involving Sugar at a recent gig. Sugar will know exactly what I'm referring to, and there was an incident of some racism that I was all set to jump in on, and Sugar was already dealing with. I like making boys cry, and you should. I'm sure it would be fun. Anyway, so he reached out about that, and I got to chatting with him, and I was like, how have you been? And it turns out he's been going through some stuff, and he's got a child that is in the hospital, and I know what that's like. I've been through that with several of my kids. My eldest had RSV and was hospitalized, and it turns out that at the same time, we didn't realize that my ex-wife was, quote unquote, not a good cow. So she was not producing milk. She was basically, so the eldest was struggling to get any kind of nutrition. And we don't understand any of this shit, right? So it was only when we were in the hospital and they thought that we were starving Abby. And they watched and saw that, yeah, she's feeding. And then they set the milking machine up and pumped and nothing was coming out, and they were like, this is the problem. This is why this child is as sick with this virus as she is. She's struggling just to survive because she's not getting enough nutrients, and it's not out of anything that we were doing. It was out of a biological problem that got okay, we figured that out. We were able to deal with it. Where the fuck was I going with that one? Oh yeah. So, anyways, all of my kids at varying times have been in a hospital, and in some cases for quite a long time. So I totally get, he's not a rich fella, so I'm lucky enough. I had a couple bucks extra, and I messaged him and I was like, "Can I send you $20 just to offset the cost of a meal or something?" And hey, kitty jerkface, how are ya? And so he no, because again, toxic masculinity says that any weakness is a problem. And a couple of days later, he messaged me and sort of very, very cautiously was like, "Hey, that thing you said the other day." And I was like, "Absolutely. This is not a loan. This is a gift. Let me just send you." And I ended up sending him $50, and it was just it's a little thing that I could do, and I'm glad he asked, because what society tells us men are supposed to do is just not ask for help, and it's better to suffer and potentially not have, I don't know what he needed the money specifically for. It probably wasn't for food, food at the hospital. It was probably for fuck, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent or anything like that. So, hopefully that helped. Anyways, that's not related to non-monogamy. It's related to toxic masculinity, which somehow feels like the minute that I update the title, we move on to a new topic immediately, which is all right. So, kitty jerkface, it's fantastic to see you. I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in a while. Love you, fella. Hope you're doing great. Yeah, we were basically talking about it started with Chappelle, and then it moved into talking about non-monogamy and the frustration of of how sort of, you know, your societal influences on male behavior make male people often really hard to tolerate, and then that moved into non-monogamy, and then somehow into me virtue signaling about helping somebody. I don't know. It was a mulberry bush. But yeah, I definitely agree that the like things like the non-monogamous community are very focused on heterosexual male experience. We like to pretend they're not, but the reason the whole unicorn thing exists is because men are like, you can't have sex with a guy because I'd be threatened by that. But it's okay if I have sex with a girl. You shouldn't be threatened by that. Baby, I love you. Ooh, baby, I love you way. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, I guess. All right. Much as Kitty just joined us, I'm going to take another pause, and I think when I get back, I'm going to talk about upcoming shows that I've got coming, and you know, if the chat wants to have any questions or stuff while I'm out stretching my legs, I'll be back in about 5-ish minutes. And then if not, then we'll move on to my weekly humiliations. I totally was very last minute, and my choices for today, where is it? Was 2 schmaltzy songs, intentionally schmaltzy. It was Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams, and Sometimes When We Touch by Dan Hill, because apparently I'm all about the toxic masculinity. I'm just kidding. I'm not. It's terrible. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to play a different song because that trumpet was fucking awful. What will I play? Let's play this song I wrote called Blurk Derp. Hopefully it's good. And I need to make sure I'm not recording so that it won't pick up my... it didn't pick up my voice. I think this is going to be all right. And I think I even have it like... Yeah, I do. So it's ready for repeating. Yay. And we need something to happen in the background. So let's go with a speech by... yeah, let's go with... what's his name? Father of Universal Hellfire. Thomas... Shit. What's his name? Speech... Tommy Douglas. That's it. Let's find a good Tommy Douglas speech. This one should work. This is when he was stepping aside as leader of the NDP party. We'll go with it. And I... will be back in a moment.
I have
I've been fortunate that in all my political career, I've had someone who has helped me and encouraged me. And tonight, I'm glad that you are paying tribute. I want to say to Grant Notley, that I'm not saying goodbye either. I propose to stay in the House of Commons until the next election. Our supporters in the Nanaimo couch of the islands have done me the great honor of nominating me to contest the next federal election. And if God gives me strength and the electorate gives me votes, I'll be here fighting at the same old stand for the things in which you and I believe. Hundreds of thousands of people you represent who have made anything we have done possible. I think of the men and women who 35 years ago and more dreamed the impossible dream. Men and women who lived beyond the lean horizon of their years, who believed devoutly that it was possible to have a more humane and a more just society, and who gave of their time and their money and their energy to begin building it. The men and women who traveled in all kinds of weather and in all kinds of vehicles, who went from schoolhouse to schoolhouse, organizing, raising money, who canvassed from door to door, who passed out literature, who manned the polls, who drove cars on election day. You who are here and thousands whom you represent, these are the men and women to whom we should be profoundly grateful. And I feel tonight a great flow of gratitude to them. And I'm filled with wonder that I, raised in a working class home on the wrong side of the tracks in the city of Winnipeg, should have been given the opportunity by the working people of this country to make a contribution to the public life of Canada, which I hope will long endure. If I were asked to sum up for the people of Canada, for the New Democratic Party, what I have learned from more than a third of a century in public life, I would sum it up by saying to them that it is possible in this country of ours to build a society in which there will be full employment, in which there will be a higher standard of living, in which there will be an improved quality of life, while at the same time maintaining a reasonable stability in the cost of living.
I love Tommy Douglas.
We don't have to have 750,000 unemployed.
He's right. We don't have to have 750,000 unemployed. All right, I'm going to get rid of the thing on my face. And it's gone. Look at that. Power of positive thinking. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't make the thing on your face go away. Because, especially when it's a computer-based thing, you just remove it. And when it's not a computer-based thing, yeah, I don't know. I was just scrolling to see what I missed. I missed some interesting chattings. I think there was some good conversation all in all. Yeah. So, yeah, we're at the point where if chat has any suggestions of stuff that they want me to look at, I can do that. Otherwise, I can go for my weekly humiliations. I'll steal from Twitch. It's just chatting. At this point, we're just chatting. Yeah. Check out the hashtag ciswit hat. Oh, I don't have Twitter. I'm actually very, very happy in my life not having Twitter. Facebook is enough of a cesspool of... Oh, cis with a T. Oh, that makes sense. I was like, cis with that? Cis with a T. I don't have Twitter. I wonder if I can do that, though. Let's find out together, because we'll see. If I go to twitter.com... Yeah, it wants me to sign up. Yeah, can't do that. Can I Google cis with a T? Let's find out. I don't hashtag well. I'm like old. Cis with... There's cis with the T? Well, let's take a look. I'm gonna pop open my browser view. And no worries, bud. I'll rant about it later. And you know what? Let me know when you're having that rant, because I'm more than happy to check it out and learn some stuff. In the meantime, I don't have a whole lot. Nobody cares Twitter search. Non-binary are valid. I wonder if I can get around it by just clicking that. Haha, maybe I can. I don't know who needs to hear this today, but transgender women are women. Enjoy your Thursday, people. Cis with a T. Yeah, I 100% agree. Is that the sort of the gist of what cis with a T is that transgender women are... This article is excellent, but the BBC statement is a surprise. I cannot understand how a story that took a year to investigate and yet which contains no factual corroborative evidence went through any sort of rigorous editorial process. Lesbians condemn BBC for transphobic campaign after attack on... Let's click on this Pink News article and find out what we're talking about. Cis lesbians condemn BBC for transphobic campaign after shameless attack on trans women. Hashtag L with the T, not a debate. Prominent cis lesbians have accused the BBC of amplifying a transphobic campaign and contributing to a baseless moral panic. Criticism comes after the BBC published an article, "We're being pressured into sex by some trans women," claiming that cis lesbians are being coerced into sex by trans women. That seems like a bullshit thing. The 26th of October article has been widely denounced by the wider LGBT plus community for relying on a small study carried out by a known anti-trans campaign group to back up its claims, including by more than 10,000 people who have signed an open letter to BBC management. This criticism also hones in on the fact that the BBC continues to platform anti-trans charity LGB Alliance, who we mentioned earlier are a bunch of fucking shitty TERFs, which the public broadcaster has received backlash for in the past. In fact, the BBC has previously been branded institutionally transphobic by senior MPs, LGBT plus campaigners, and public figures for its anti-trans coverage. Cis with a T was started as a hashtag for support. The TERFs took it over. Of course they did. Because that's... Why can't we just leave well enough alone? Like, there's times when it's funny. Like, when the gay... men took over hashtag Proud Boys. That was fucking awesome. But why do we have to do this? Why do we have to like take things that people create to give themselves voices and shout them down? That feels like, I don't know, maybe a dick move. Okay, Linda Riley, publisher of Diva, Europe's top magazine for LGBT plus women and non-binary people, told Pink News that the BBC News article about trans and cis lesbians is biased and very harmful. I don't understand why the BBC has published an article perpetuating the idea that trans women are sexually preying on lesbians. Riley, anytime trans and preying on is used in a sentence, we shouldn't be promoting that idea. During all my time as the publisher of Diva magazine, and indeed as a member of the community, I have never heard from a lesbian saying she has been pressurized into having sex with a trans woman. Is this kind of like that shitty super straight garbage? Like a LGBT version of that? That's kind of what I'm picking up. Like, it sounds like this hate group, the LGB Alliance, who are a group of TERFs, are promoting the idea that that somehow the evil trans women out there are saying, well, if you're a lesbian, you have to have the sex with me. Which is fucking hilarious because I don't think that's valid. I don't think that's what's happening. I feel like, maybe on a certain individual people might do that, but that would make them shitty. That wouldn't be like the calling card of the trans women any more than the poor sad boys who created Super Straight were so fucking hard done by because they didn't want to have sex with trans women. It's totally got that same vibe. One lesbian was coerced by a trans woman, so all trans women do it. Most of the trans women I know are submissive, so I've never seen this happen. Yeah, I can't speak to what the experience of lesbians are because, again, heterosexual male. But this doesn't make any sense. The super straight movement didn't make any sense. It's just people looking for an excuse to other and to degrade trans women and trans men and trans whoever, or non-binary people, right? This is all much ado about nothing. It's people who get pissy about it. From everything that I've heard from watching content by trans creators and from the very small, admittedly, number of trans people I know, I think that the general rule is if you're not into them, they don't want you to have sex with them. Kind of in the same way that if they're not into you, they don't want to have sex with you. Like, it turns out that sex isn't like a duty to prove fidelity to a cause. Sex is what happens between two grown adults when there's a funny tickling that sometimes happens in their private parts. That's how I learned it. TERFs were saying, if you support trans people, you hate lesbians. Oh, God. I earlier covered, because the comment was made that trans men are more accepted than trans women, and I was like, I don't know about that. And I brought up an article that was talking about the transphobia around the idea that trans men are essentially eroding the population of lesbians and taking away, making it so that lesbians will be an endangered species. It was that sweet smelling garbage that smells. I was at the dump today, so everything smells like garbage to me right now. I'll talk about my opinion on that one, but I won't be typing it out. Do you want to jump on Discord? You can always join me. Kitty, you're always welcome. I loves ya. I'll give you a moment for lag to get there. I have experience as a trans man. Absolutely, you do. And you would know a lot better than I would about how things go for trans men. I can only sort of speculate based on the fact that trans men are human beings and trans women are human beings and probably aren't, the diabolical Disney villains they're being portrayed as by groups like the LGB Alliance, who have a vested interest in being all turfy and shitty. I'm going to pop into That's not my community. This is my community. I'm on Discord. And you are in the general. Okay, I will join you. And give me one sec. You're muted. I'm going to unmute you. Assuming I can. Fuck, I've never actually done this before. I think I actually have to give you the role of someone who can talk. Let's find out if that worked. And I'm going to... I'm assuming you can hear me. I can't hear you. You're a server mute. Now you are not muted. I hear you. Okay.
You can hear me? You could hear me squealing there?
I could, at the very, very tail end, I could hear the squealing.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm just going to grab my headphones and I'll be right back.
Sure, no problem. I have a second camera I can even like camera with. There we go. I'll just give Kitty a moment. And Kitty, you don't have to, if you want to come on camera, I can crop that thing and make it so that you're on camera, but you certainly don't have to. While you're getting headphones, I'll prepare to do that just in case, if you want to. And also, I should make sure that you're making noise in regular... yeah, so when you're there, let me know.
Hello.
Yep, you are making noise on stream, so that's good. Do you want to share camera video stuff, or do you not want to? Totally.
Oh, heck no. I was just like laying in bed and listening to this. So, in regards to trans men having it easier than trans women, there are a lot of instances in which that is actually true. And one of the main ones is, I was speaking with my cousin about this. I've been wearing men's clothes since I was a young person, like teenage years. And like, I very rarely, except for special occasions, like dressed up like a woman. No one has said anything. But a trans woman doing the same thing, like pretending to be a boy in society and dressing up in a dress or wearing makeup, sure gets a lot more crap than I ever did. Additionally, it doesn't seem to matter where trans men take a piss. No one cares what bathroom trans men use. You can use women's washroom, you can use men's washroom, but trans women, not so much. They aren't welcome in any washroom. So that was pretty much all I had to say about that point there.
No, you raise good points. I was thinking more in terms of like overall, how society sees trans women. But you absolutely are correct that there's, hang on, I'm going to cough. Especially like the example of bathrooms. Pardon me, sorry. Working in the bar that I used to work in, varying times had trans people come to shows and things, and I don't recall them going to the bathroom, and I'm willing to put good money that it's because they were worried that would make them, put them in that awkward spot of for example, using the example of a trans woman. If a trans woman went into the women's washroom, running the risk of someone going, oh, you get out of here, you man. And, vice versa, if it was, a trans woman going into the male bathroom, all of the bullshit that would invariably come from that. So yeah, that's totally valid. I stand at least partially corrected. Probably all the way corrected, because I wasn't. I don't know enough to say one way or the other. It was really just going, hey, there's trans men don't seem to be getting a lot of no one's getting off easy when it comes to hateful people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, certainly not. Absolutely not. One of the turf arguments that was really amusing to me over the past few days while watching that hashtag was, well, there's a big genetic difference between men and women, when there actually isn't at all. We all start off as female,
Yep.
and until puberty, you can't really distinguish between a male and a female, except for the clothing and the toys that they play with, whatever. So a lot of their arguments aren't even based in like more current science. That was like biology that we learned in grade 8. So like these arguments are so anti-science and so frustrating to me. And I could seriously rant for hours, but I'm not going to co-opt your stream with it. I just wanted to get those.
Welcome.
I just wanted to get those few things out, and thank you for giving me the space to do that. I surely appreciate it.
Absolutely, you're one of my all-time favorite humans, and I'm super. Anytime you want to pop in on stream and talk, you have a different perspective than mine, and I know it's easy to believe that I'm always right, but sometimes a good conversation is way better than just me rambling.
You know what? Fair enough. And if you ever want a consultant on trans issues, I'm here for you, buddy.
I genuinely appreciate that, because I try to be a good ally, but I'm also still a cishet white heterosexual man. What the fuck do I know about anything besides having opportunities and privileges?
Exactly. Yeah. And I used to have those privileges. As long as I was pretending to be a woman, I probably could have kept a lot of those privileges, but you know what, being me is a lot better.
And that's the thing, to me, that's the most important thing about all of this, is the ability for people to live authentically true to themselves.
Amen.
You shouldn't be penalized for that. In the same way that, like, I can go to work as a stupid fucking punk rock kid working in an office building. I slick my hair back, but I still have this, whatever the fuck this is. And no one's going to say shit. It is. It really is. My curly tuft. But no one says shit to me because I back that up with all of the skill and ability and everything that I bring to the table. But I can guarantee you that, if a woman or a trans man or a trans woman or anyone who was not me tried to pull off some of the shit that I do, they'd be met with, we should have a little conversation about your professionalism, because people can get away with it. My tuft. I loves my tuft.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you again for letting me chat, and I'm gonna get off this voice thing and let you do your thing.
Sounds good. I love you. Take care of yourself, and we will talk again soon.
Love you back. See you soon.
All right. That was awesome. That was the first time in a very, very long time I've had anyone do the Discord jump in and conversation stuff. I've known Kitty Jerkface for many years, and just a great fella. One of my favorite humans. I have a large number of favorite humans, but definitely one of my favorite humans. When it comes to trans issues, obviously I don't know shit about shit. So it's really awesome to have the opinions of someone who lives the reality of that. Very cool. Appreciate the perspective. Totally agree, Sugar. And that's, the joke I made when we started talking about the Chappelle thing was like, because clearly what the world needs is a middle-class, middle-aged, white, heterosexual, cishet man to weigh in on the subject. But that's why I immediately was like, and we're sharing some Jesse gender, because no one needs my opinion in this. Aside from just, that I say interesting stuff sometimes. All right, let's do our weekly humiliations, shall we? So I'll I think there's a couple of people that are new. I don't know if they're real people or not. I can never tell because, Twitter being Twitter. I'm not even on Twitter. Twitch being Twitch. That's the thing. So where this came from originally, I had this crisis where I realized that someday I'll be huge. And right now I am nowhere near being a Twitch partner or whatever the fuck. I don't even know if that's the right term. I'm a Twitch nobody. But theoretically, there could come a time where people would, subscribe or like it, or follow me to the point where I became a Twitch somebody, and they hit that point where people might want to send me money. And always very quick to say, I don't need money. There are people who will still want to send money, and that's awesome. And I wanted to come up with a way, affiliate then partner. You're welcome. Thank you, Kitty. You know these things that I don't know. So, you know, like, I'm not going to stop anyone from sending me money, but I really don't like the idea of people sending me money and by virtue of that sending Jeff Bezos money, because Jeff Bezos can suck my bum. I don't like him at all. So I don't want to give him money. So I was like, I should get ahead of this. I'm going to create a thing, weekly humiliations, where I will like do bad karaoke and it will be fun. And that, you know, it is fun. It is good. But I also, sorry, I'm just doing 8 things at once. But I also like, you know, set it up where like if you send money, you know, through donations, I will do like more and more stuff, and that's all well and good. But I'm not there, so I don't need to do that. So I'm just gonna humiliate myself for free, because, you know, why the fuck not? So I'm gonna sing some karaoke, and I have not prepped this any more than just knowing from the past where I've sang it in the shower. So this could be amazing, or it could be horrible. We will find out together. All right. So we're starting off with little Bryan Adams. Yay. Yes, I agree. Yay. Where's my Bryan Adams thing? I have too many tabs open. There we go. Okay. So press play. Karaoke. Here we go. My all-time karaoke. Okay. My buddy and I used to sing this together because he was really big on the movie and felt that this was like a song about our friendship. It was pretty cheesy. Look into my eyes. Oops. See. It seems off. What you mean to me? Search your heart, search your soul, and when you find me there, you'll search no more. Don't tell me it's not worth trying for. You can't tell me it's not worth dying for. You know it's true. Anything I do, everything, I do it for you. Look into your heart, you will find there's nothing there to hide. Take me as I am, take my life. I would give it all, I would sacrifice. Don't tell me it's not worth fighting for. Can't help it, there's nothing I want more. You know it's true. Everything I do it for you. Oh yeah. There's no love like your love, and no other could give more love. There's nowhere unless you're there all the time, all the way, yeah. I have a friend that sings Desperado to me. Why won't you come to your senses? Sugar, why won't you be coming to your senses? You've been out jumping fences for so long. I don't know what that emoji is, but it's cute. Oh, I gotta get back into character. Oh, you can't tell me it's not worth fighting for. I can't help it. There's nothing I want more. Yeah, I would fight for you. I'd lie for you. Walk the wire for you. Yeah, I'd die for you. You know it's true. Everything I do. Oh, I do it for you. It only hurts when I pee. There's pills for that. Oh, maybe it's related to the singing. Yeah, that's Jim. Singing makes it hurt. It's Grand Pooh Bear. He's a speedrunner and is on Team Red Bull. He's impressed by both Red Bull and your singing. Wow. I don't even know if I know this song. I know it from, like, clips. Oh, shit. Ask me if I love you. And I choke on my reply. I don't even know this. I'd rather hurt you honestly than mislead you with a lie. And who am I to judge you on what you say or do? I'm only just beginning to see the real you. Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, which is creepy, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me subsides. Okay, chat, rustle your opinions, because I'm gonna do one more song, but I don't know what I want to do. So you guys get to pick it, especially since I don't know the tune here. With my pride, but through the insecurity, some tenderness survives. I'm just another writer, still trapped within my truth. A hesitant prize fighter, so trapped within my youth. I know the chorus too. Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me subsides. At times I'd like to, wow, that's mean, and drive you to your knees. That's fucking no. At times I'd like to break through and hold you endlessly. At times I understand you, and I know how hard you've tried. I've watched while love commands you, and I've watched love pass you by. At times I think we're drifters, still searching for a friend, a brother or a sister. But then the passion flares again. 5, 6, 7, 8, and sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me subsides. You say, Dolly, I know the song Fancy. In fact, I used to make... Oh, what the hell's happening here? James Ingram? Sorry, James Ingram. You're not getting to do it. So let's see. Karaoke. Fancy. Oh, no, that's Reba. Did you want me to do Reba? Or do you want me to sing Dolly? Chat, Reba or Dolly? We're going to have about like a minute there. Prism of Soul Catcher. I don't know that song. This is going to be my drag song. I love Fancy. Reba. Okay, so far 1 vote for Reba. 2 votes for Reba. I feel like Reba's going to win because I don't know how many people are watching right now. According to this, there's the 3 accounts that I wasn't sure about, and there's Sugar, Kitty Jerkface, and I'm Canadian. I don't know country. Okay, yeah, we'll go with Reba McEntire, Fancy, and I'll quickly tell you the story. So I have this thing in my brain where I hear songs and I know other songs that have the same chord progressions, and I will do that in here, just in one little tiny spot, but it's how I'm wired. I don't know the tune to this one either. Or maybe I do. I remember it all very well, looking back oh no, see, we lived in a 1-room rundown shack on the outskirts of New Orleans. Oh, you know what? Tell you what, I will do this next time. I will even add it to my my weekly humiliations playlist, so that I can't get away with not doing it next time. But I don't know the tune, so we're gonna do Jolene by Dolly Parton, because I know the tune to that one. I need karaoke version. Karaoke. All right. I hope that's okay. Jolene is good too. Okay, good. And I don't know any Prism. I'm gonna try to sing it low. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. That's too low. Jolene, oh, Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare. Flaming locks of auburn hair with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like your smile is like a breath of spring. Your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. And I can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me. Goes to Jolene, fuck. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. Could have your choice of men, but I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you and whatever you decide to do, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can. Jolene. Oh, sorry. Fuck Jolene. Is that it? I feel like that. Yeah, that was it. Okay. Well, that worked out all right. I'm singing along like a cat in heat. My kids are laughing. Oh, that's awesome, sugar. Let's see. Where's my... I'm going to go back to my regular me view. And then we got... So, I'm a fan, Jim. The lyrics are not as repetitive as you might think. It is a repetitive song. All I can hear is Dolly. This is one of those songs that grows on you when Dolly does Dolly. You know, I'll give credit where credit's due also. Lil Nas X does a cover of this song. And it is, like, fucking amazing. I'm not a big Lil Nas X fan. Mostly because I'm fucking 80 years old and you know, these kids today. But I love what Lil Nas X has been up to. I think Lil Nas X is pretty fucking badass. And that cover is stunning. So give it a listen. I'll even post the link to it in chat. I can't play it because it will guaranteed be copyright and stuff, and it should be. But if I go like this and go Lil Nas X Jolene cover, it's right there. And copy link address and paste it into chat. Watch the documentary on Dolly. She's an amazing woman. I've always wondered about, yes, excited for next week with Reba. Totally. I've always wondered about Dolly and the whole Confederacy thing. And, you know, is Dolly as good or, you know, not? It's hard to know. The whole embracing of Southern... I don't know if I want to say identity, but like the, you know, that Dixie crap bullshit. I always feel like Dolly Parton is better than that, but I do not know. I hope she is, because I think she's a phenomenally gifted singer. From the documentary, it's actually not what you think. She's the one who broke the mold. I totally believe that's entirely possible, and so that's why I'm asking as opposed to telling, because I don't know. I know as much about Dolly Parton as I know about being a trans woman, so that's not a whole fuck of a lot. She was a human, not a Southern belle. Excellent, because that's, honestly, that whole Southern belle thing is fucked. I mean, like, you know, speaking of toxic misogyny, the idea of the beautiful regalia we celebrate our women down here in the South, sounds good, sounds so good, and then you think about it, and it's actually a really ugly, backhanded compliment, essentially. Speaking of misogyny, I have something to explain to you. Oh, please do. If you want to pop on stream, you can join us. And herein lies the problem. She dealt with so much misogyny. I do not doubt, or would it be misandry that she dealt with? Or am I confusing? Because either way, she dealt with some shit, and God bless her for it. Because I have always had a special place. When I was a kid, Islands in the Stream was like on the radio. Islands in the Stream. Her and Kenny Rogers, and it was a beautiful duet, and way cooler than anything Meatloaf ever duetted. She got fired for refusing to fuck. Yeah, that sounds very much like things that are unfortunately tragically real in our world. Fired for refusing. I just the idea of that boggles my mind. Not that it doesn't happen, because but just like what kind of a cretinous human being wants sex under those terms? Like, if I could be a boss, and if I was like, you know what, we should have sex, lil underling, and they were like, but no, I don't want to force you, like, but then I'm not a horrible fucking monster. She completely ignored how it came at her. She never let it change her opinion of herself or stop her from doing what she wanted. A few variety shows. Yeah, like that's not the world I want to live in. One where anyone has the ability to be like, no, your job doesn't get to exist anymore because my wiener continues to be unsoaked in the coital drippings of your Menzies stuff or whatever the fuck. She grew up dirt poor, literally nothing. Yep, that I knew about her, definitely. I don't know that that's true about Kenny Rogers though. Poor white trash South. There's a great song that you just made me think of that's unrelated to Dolly Parton, but it's called "Walk with a Camel," I think, or something like the Camel Walk or something. It's by a band called Southern Culture on the Skids, and they also do a song called "White Trash." But that song is all about like eating Little Debbie snack cakes and a girl with desert boots. It's a fun song. Yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about Dolly Parton. I don't know much about Dolly as a person. Phenomenally talented musician. Someone that I've always appreciated that when her songs come on, you know, there's a really good chance that they're going to be like breathtaking. And she rose above it through sheer determination and persnicketyness. When that word didn't make you titter, it makes me titter. The impression I get is I'm not dressing up tonight. I'm not sure dressing up tonight. So Seth has these two fake mustaches that he thinks I could put on as eyebrows and mustache and go as some Pixar dad. I don't know anything about it. I might wear a tux. Or I might just not dress up. What time I'm playing? So I'm DJing tonight. I didn't talk about the show. So I'm DJing tonight between bands. So I'm playing all night long, all night long, all night, all night. That's a song I could cover. There was a guy that, oh my God, at this karaoke bar that I used to go to, there was a guy who sang, I think he sang that and Hello, both Lionel Richie songs, and he was a black guy. And had like that perfect style of delivery for like, you know, vocal delivery for those songs. And every time he would get to the bar and he would sing one of those two songs, and it was just like every girl wanted him, every guy wanted to be him. It was fucking brilliant. You get to have fun too. Yeah, I get to have all kinds of fun. I made a playlist that's got a pile of music on it, and I gave a little secret away earlier, and that is that one of the songs right in the middle of all the like punk and metal is "Nightmare on My Street" by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, because it's Halloween. So yeah, that'll be a good time. On November 20th, which happens to be my eldest kiddo's birthday, I am doing a double header show. I will be playing. So we're going to start with, if the lineup doesn't change, I'm going to start with Kevin from The Reckless Hero, as I guess he's doing some acoustic guitar stuff, which will be awesome. And then my ska band, Dr. James Reddy's playing, and I'll be playing there. And then I have Walk Alone, and then Mark's band, Owls and Eagles, and then my band, Bodies of Everest, will be headlining. So it should be a fun night. So that's November 20th. Can't decide what to wear. Okay, chat, we can help Sugar out. So Sugar needs a Halloween costume. Rhett and Link made a video of them walking around with All Night Long playing in the background. It's is that actually the name of the song? I think it's All Night Long. All night long, all night. Let me just see. Let's find out. All Night Long, Lionel Richie. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's called All Night Long, bracket, All Night, end bracket. So yes. So anyways, chat. Sugar needs a costume. I'm assuming Sugar's costume probably will follow under the same kind of criteria as my need for a costume, which means not going to go buy, it's not time to buy the slutty nurse outfit. They walked around all night long. I missed the biggest part of the joke. Oh, I literally had to stare at my chat for a second and be like, what part of the... Oh, surprise, surprise, surprise. What do you have available to make a costume with? Yeah, Sugar, you're gonna. I'm bringing people together here. We're connecting, but you're gonna have to give some deets. Deets. Not buying lol. Maybe 80s. 80s works. Yeah. You got to have a lot of hairspray if you're gonna go with 80s, because you got to do that thing that all girls in the 80s did with their hair, where it goes straight up and then crests like an evil wave, but it doesn't, like, you could punch that hard and it's just gonna go. But that's definitely an option. You could go with. Yeah, I remember seeing you out once and you had like a dainty little hat on. Do you still have the dainty hat? Because I feel like you could construct a really strange, un-Southern, un-Belle costume with that particular little dainty hat, if you know what I'm talking about. A theme, not a character. If I was to provide a theme for that, it would be anti-Southern, anti-Belle. Would whiteface be considered racist? You have fascinators. I don't even know what fascinators are, but that sounds really good. Oh, we got a Google search, costume ideas. I hope it's please be slutty something. Just kidding. I'm gonna bring that up in stream so we can all share in the glory of whatever this is. Paste. Oh, amazing how good I am at internet. Paste. Okay, let me swing this over. Sorry, that's gross. Coughing away like a guy who's coughing a lot. Oh, I like this. I like this a lot. Like, I don't know why that's a men's workout costume. That to me is like, that is 80s gender neutral. I guess what makes it a men's costume is that because I remember the shorts in the 80s, men typically wore sweatpants in like high school sports, but they made those terry cloth ones that like go like, it's too short, I promise, and they're like total body parts hanging out. The tiny hats. That's a fascinator. Now I'm learning things. See, it's not just about me teaching you. You're teaching me. The happier side of the 80s. Aerobics. I remember the aerobics trend. Let's get physical. I wanna get physical. Let's get it. Oh, we got some Madonna wannabe here. 80s wild child adult costume. I wonder if that means and we got that's more 90s in my opinion, but that, the Vanilla Ice. I love how like there's I don't even know what that was very 80s. Leg warmers with fancy shoes and what I'm assuming are leggings underneath of a skirt and this flary. Yeah, the 80s were a hard time. Like, if you didn't live through them, it was a fucking tough slug. And we deserve credit for surviving. Let's see what else we got here. Trying to help. Ooh, this actually makes me think of like the hip hop. I would again say early 90s, before parkas were the thing, when like matching tracksuits for hip hop groups, which was all over the map in terms of who. Oh my God, a macho madness. Let me tell you something, brother. You know what I can do? I can do one of these. One sec. Where the fuck? I gotta line up my head real quick. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to like do that. Okay. We'll make it work. This year for Halloween, you probably want to dress like me, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's hard on the throat. Dear God. Why am I only getting part of my screen? I was on the wrong thing, that's why. And that's the wrong entirely. We're gonna go here, and I pasted into the wrong thing, and yeah, that's some stuff. All right, where were we? More aerobics. I remember my dad, we were in Kohl's for back to school shopping when I was in like junior high, and there was a book called Erotic Aerobics, and my dad was like reading it, obviously. Okay, please. 80s Halloween costume. That's not an 80s Halloween costume. That's just men fetishizing the Catholic schoolgirl. But Michael Jackson here, that's pretty fucking badass. Except missing all of the zippers. I remember these jackets. I remember the matching pants, and they were just fucking covered in zippers. That was some true shit. Let's see. Little Run DMC vibe. That's actually pretty. Oh, MC Hammer. Please, Hammer. Don't hurt them. Don't. It's Freddie Mercury. This is the cast of the... Oh my God, that is the greatest group costume of all time. The Breakfast Club cast. That's John Bender. And that's Ali Sheedy. I can't remember what her name in the show was. And that's Emilio Estevez. And that's Molly Ringwald, who I still love. That's not Molly Ringwald. Who the fuck was he? It was Molly Ringwald. Yeah, of course. And that was the guy that no one can remember the name of, but he played the nerd, and that's all he got. Apparently, this is a thing. There's like iconic 80s costumes. And DIY. Like, I knitted my own lumberjack flannel. It's a banner day in the Bender household. Old man was like, "Hey, Johnny, I got you a pack of smoke. Smoke up." Oh, even better, a white MC Hammer. MC Honker. I love when white people's pants do this, because it's like, you do not need that room. Oh, Beetlejuice. Say that 3 times. Aerosmith Reborn? Did I miss Aerosmith? Oh, but I got distracted. The Princess Bride. That's such a beautiful fucking movie. I don't care. Toxic masculinity can suck my bum. That is a fucking great movie. Okay, that's a creepy thing. Like Mario with a box full of Barbie sex doll. Oh, a 3.5-inch mic, floppy disk. School notes, book report. That's like charmingly awful. Oh, little Smurf girl. That's so cute. I feel like at this point I'm just like Teen Wolf. Looks like a teen, right? Definitely looks like a teen. This is Alyssa Milano. I don't see how that's a costume, unless that's not actually Alyssa Milano. That looks a lot like Alyssa Milano. Like, totally it is the name of the website. Oh my God. Oh, little tribute to Wham there. Last year I was an angry, pouty devil baby. What did I do? I don't think I did anything last year. Yeah, I'm really good at thinking of Halloween costumes that are like super complicated, and I think about them in like January, and then do nothing about it until the day of Halloween, and then I'm like, maybe I can go as a guy in t-shirt and jeans, because that actually is the easiest thing for me to pull off, because all I own are t-shirts and jeans. That is a fucking gorgeous, terrible costume. This is not a Halloween costume, but that was a great movie. I don't care what people say. Fucking Dirty Dancing. Oversized sweaters and leggings. I see there's another link here. This is a Facebook story. hopefully, like, I don't have like anything inappropriate pop up on my Facebook, because you never can tell. Oh, there, yes. Did I see that? I feel like I saw that. I don't know what I did last year for Halloween. John Revolting. You know, there's a great band called the Revolting Cocks, and they do a cover of what's the if you want my body and you think I'm sad, but they do it like in an industrial song. It's pretty amazing. How come there's no like Facts of Life group costume? Right? That was some fucking quality stuff. Joan Jett. I would totally rock a Joan Jett. I would not rock whatever the fuck that is. Yeah. Anyways, at this point, I think we're going down. Yeah, Rod Stewart, the Rod Stewart song. Did I say something else? I knew a guy who his wife was a big Rod Stewart fan, and she had special underskivvies. It was a thong of the thong type, and on the front it had a picture of Rod Stewart, and on the back it said, "In Rod We Trust." And I just couldn't love a woman who loved Rod Stewart that way. Couldn't do it. I mean, I probably could. I'm kind of a whore, but it feels wrong. It feels wrong. You're good. Okay. I see teens. All right. I think we're pretty much at the point where now we're just making fun of stuff for the sake of making fun of stuff. Have you ever seen the Aristocrats joke with that guy from Crowded House or whatever? Yeah, I've seen several Aristocrats jokes. What was his name? The guy who plays Danny from Full House. He was actually like a super raunchy comedian before they gave him that gig. What's his name? Total boner killer. Yeah, the Aristocrats joke is a boner killer. I know you're talking about the In Rod We Trust. What's his name? The guy from America's Funniest Home Videos. I can't remember. But yeah, his Aristocrats joke was pretty fucking hard to stomach. But you know what the best joke is? Maybe I'll end it off with what I think the best joke. Bob Saget, you are correct. This is a good idea. I'm gonna share with you the moth joke. And hopefully you will all enjoy the moth joke as I enjoy the moth joke. The cool thing about the moth joke, in my opinion, is apparently the story behind this is they forgot on the Conan show to tell him that, this is Norm Macdonald, to tell him that he had to do like a whole another segment, and he had nothing planned to talk about. And he's like, "How long is the segment?" And they were like, "This is in the commercial break." And they're like 5 minutes. He's like, "Okay, I got this." And he just riffed on one very old joke and turned it into sheer brilliance. And it is amazing. This talks to the delivery of the man. Norm Macdonald. All right.
Now, not all your material comes from the news. Is that right?
No, some of my material comes. My strongest material comes from real life.
Real life?
Like, for instance, today I was driving in a car. Mm-hmm. You were kind enough to bring a car to bring this old chunk of coal here to the studio.
We send cars for our guests. Yes.
Yeah. So I got in it, and I get material that way. So my driver.
What do you mean? How do you get material that way? You get in the car, and what happens?
My driver tells me a joke.
The driver we sent to pick you up told you a joke.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell it now on the show.
Yeah, that's how I get a lot of my material.
Okay. Why don't we just have him on next time?
That guy. That guy. No, wait till you hear me do it. So the guy, he goes, I say, I'll be the guy.
Okay.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office, all right?
You are correct. A moth goes into a podiatrist's office, And the podiatrist's office says, what's the problem? And the moth says, what's the problem? Where do I begin, man? He goes, I go to work for Gregory Olinovich, and all day long I work. Honestly, Doc, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I don't even know if Gregory Olinovich knows. He only knows that he has power over me, and that seems to bring him happiness. But I don't know. I wake up in a malaise, and I walk here and there. And the podiatrist says, oh, yeah? And the moth goes, yes. And he goes, at night, I sometimes wake up, and I turn to some old lady in my bed that's on my arm. A lady that I once loved, Doc. I don't know where to turn to. My youngest, Alexandria. She fell in the cold of last year. The cold took her down, as it did many of us. And my other boy. And this is the hardest pill to swallow, Doc. My other boy, Gregorio Ivanilidovich. I no longer love him. As much as it pains me to say, when I look in his eyes, all I see is the same cowardice that I catch when I take a glimpse of my own face in the mirror. If only the cowardice was stronger, then perhaps I could bring myself to reach over to that cocked and loaded gun that lays on the bedside behind me and end this hellish facade once and for all.
How long a drive was this? Do you live in the valley? Where do you live? Please, sorry.
He says, Doc, sometimes I feel like a spider, even though I'm a moth, just barely hanging on to my web with an everlasting fire underneath me. I'm not feeling good. And so the doctor says, Moth, man, you're troubled. But you should be seeing a psychiatrist. Why on earth did you come here? And then the moth said, because the light was on.
And that is the moth joke. That is so fucking brilliant. Because the joke is, why did the moth fly into the podiatrist's office, or into the, psychiatrist's office? Because the light was on. Waka waka. And with no prep time, no nothing, just like, I don't know, riff for 5 minutes. I got this. And turns that joke into that. Amazing. Yes, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. All right. It is that sad time where I must bid you adieu. I will be having a nap because I was up super early to go to the dump and smell like garbage. I have not yet showered, so I'm going to sleep in my filth, and then I will get up and I will shower and I will go to my gig, and it'll be awesome. And I will see you in a bit, sugar. Everyone, for thanks for hanging out with me and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope we had a fun time. I sure as heck did. And yeah, if you're new, I don't know if the people who are whoa, things are happening there. I just did a thing that things were happening, and I did it again. What the friggity frig? Okay, go here. There are people, and yeah. So there's Ergolta, Arabs, and Abbott Costello. If you are people who are watching, I thank you for hanging out. If you like, maybe click on that old follow button, and that way you'll hear about the many times where I wind up in the just chatting category doing exactly this thing. To those that I know are for sure people, I am Canadian, Kitty Jerkface, and Sugar Ray. I love you guys. I will see most of you soon, though not all of you, because some of you live in faraway lands. I might have been two of those people watching via Apple TV and chatting through the phone, lol. It's all you. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. At any rate, thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope everyone has a fantastic day, a fantastic week, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. And witty